Blades whining, 12 armed micro-drones froze in mid-spin the instant she softened her voice, as though the air itself had taken orders. A single heartbeat earlier, the cavernous training hangar of Marauder Solutions had thrummed with overlapping commands, steel-tipped boots, and the metallic staccato of target plates absorbing sim rounds. Now every eye tracked the petite figure and scuffed. Ill-matched fatigues, a uniform clearly borrowed from another branch standing beside a crate of spare sensors. She hadn't raised her hand, much less her rank insignia, yet the drones hovered at perfect military rest around her. Gyro fans whispering like reverent monks, Ayla Kincaid breathed through the surprise rippling across the room. 33 years old, slight as a reed, and still the tallest doubts in the hangar were the ones she carried inside. She felt them press against her ribs each time a recruit's gaze slid past, dismissing her as an admin mix up or worse. A diversion. Concrete dust floated in sun shafts slicing down from the clearstory windows, painting every face with shifting bracelets of gold. Men adjusted plate carriers, joked about the evening's fight card, and shot side glances at her as if waiting for someone else to claim responsibility for the stranger wearing the wrong pattern camo. The fluorescent strip lights buzzed above, but Ayla listened instead to the deeper hum of servo motors spinning down at her command. She set the battered canvas, Holdall on the deck. Inside were only the essentials: compress gauze, a precision screwdriver kit, and a telemetry dongle etched with initials she'd sanded half off for secrecy. Her fingers danced over the zipper, checking each piece by memory. Discipline in. Small things buys freedom in crisis, her mother had said while suturing a gunshot wound in the back of an ambulance running dark. Instructor Major Caldwell, broad-shouldered and sunburnt, cleared his throat near the armory cage. Eyes front. Training Scenario 3 commencing. Drones are blue team today. Anyone not assigned to drone ops should clear the floor. He scanned the lineup until his stare hardened on Ayla. You, civilian contractor? Badge, name on the laminate read Leela Kent 1 deliberate letter off. She kept her tone neutral. Embedded Systems Auditor Major, hereby requisition 88 Delta. Caldwell looked dubious. Never heard of you. That's ideal, sir. She offered a slight smile, whispers spread like kerosene catching spark. A tech mouthed, who the hell is she? Another shrugged, already betting she'd be gone by lunch. Outside the west doors, heat shimmered above the tarmac where relief choppers idled, their rotors exhaling dust devils down the flight line. Inside, the smell of CLP oil, ozone, and cheap coffee mingled with aftershave that tried too hard. Ayla's nostrils recorded at all data points for situational recall, should matters turn kinetic. She crouched by an unused workbench, unfurling a microfiber cloth, and began to polish a mud-specked optics hood left behind by some rushed junior. Men chose not to see it. She saw a future blind spot. Routine competence was her camouflage, fix what others ignored, and the blind would keep themselves blind. A quiet clink behind her, a trainee, nicked his knuckle on a serrated quad rotor blade. Ayla wordlessly produced a sterile wipe, wrapped it around his finger, and Pin twisted a butterfly closure so snug the bleeding stopped before his brain caught up. "Thanks, ma'am," he muttered, cheeks pink. "Not ma'am, not sir." A classification uncertainty. Droppa, if you've ever been underestimated. A week ago, Ayla had ridden into this desert valley in the cargo bay of a refurbishment truck, crouched between crates of obsolete radio relays. The sun had come up behind a ridge of ragged sandstone, punching neon light through bullet holes along the tailgate. She'd felt then, as she did now, the same pull of inevitability, that gravitational slide toward purpose no matter how circuitous the surface track. A distant laugh snapped her back. 2 drone wranglers were joking about adding furry ears and a tailcode to the autonomous sentries, calling them attack puppies. Immaturity masquerading as esprit de corps. Ayla continued wiping the optics hood until her reflection stared back, brown eyes too careful, hair wound in a bun so tight it tugged memories of her father sighting a rifle through wind shear at dawn. Remember, let the barrel cool with your breath. Never your doubt, she blinked. The hangar lighting shifted as clouds rolled over the skylights. The overhead clock ticked to 9 o'clock, scenario start. Caldwell spoke into his lapel mic. Drone AI, load mission packet Sierra 3. Engage on my mark. Rows of status LEDs along. The control rack flashed amber, then cycled red-green as firmware spun up. But the drones barely twitched. Their fans idled, altitude vectoring stable as if locked in a listening pose. Caldwell frowned. Ops, confirm handshake. Text tapped keyboards. One shrugged. They're busy, sir. Busy? They're running a queue that's not ours. Ayla heard the disbelief crack in the man's throat. She recognized the symptom systems refusing authority because they already had one. Her pulse slowed. Her senses widened. She rose, stepping into the cleared center aisle. A dozen cameras tracked her by default. They'd been set to follow any moving shape larger than a soccer ball. She exhaled once, letting the note slip from her chest cavity like smoke through woven reeds. Axis rotate. Safety bearing 50 degrees, hold altitude. The drones obeyed, nose sensors tipping in perfect semicircular salute. Gasps, mutters. Caldwell's jaw worked soundlessly. Ayla's voice stayed calm. Dr. Monroe wants rotor tolerances recorded with a non-affine transform. You'll overload average error thresholds if you throttle like yesterday. What the Caldwell advanced. Who is Dr. Monroe? Retired last year. The drones still remember. Lady, you just hijacked classified assets. Incorrect. They sought a signed authority token. I provided it. She paused, letting the room taste the implication. Your packet lacked encryption domain alpha site. Mine didn't. She thought of her father teaching ballistics. Speak softly so the wind doesn't learn your secrets. Different battlefield, same principle. Comment, if you can feel the tension rising. The ceiling fans, embarrassingly human in their slow spin, thumped overhead like a giant sleepy heart. None of the men moved. The trainer monitors now displayed. Ayla's command cue lightweight, elegantly nested, written in a syntax older than half the recruits. Caldwell stared at the code as though it were forbidden scripture. Show me your credentials, he said. I can, sir, she answered. But that would lock your crew out for 48 hours while the chain of trust resets. Is that operationally acceptable? Bravado deflated. Caldwell pivoted his glare at the techs who had nodded earlier. They looked away like children whose jar of cookies had turned out to be full of spiders. A sudden klaxon wailed. Status boards popped. Crimson, not the simulation alarm, the real thing. A field alert bled across the big screen. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Unauthorized aerial intrusion vector 221 impact. ETA 732. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Recruits stiffened. Sim ammo would not stop whatever was inbound. Caldwell barked, lockdown protocol. Get those drones. He broke off, realizing who actually controlled them. Ayla's eyes narrowed. On the secondary radar feed, an untagged UAV dove below radar fences, hugging the arroyos west of the perimeter. Its profile matched a privately manufactured kamikaze drone she'd analyzed months ago. During a joint agency audit back when no one wanted to hear her conclusions, she spoke, soft as bedtime stories. Drones, intercept pattern delta. Non-lethal. Disable, asset protection. 12 training units fanned out, forming a humming spearhead along the hangar ends before blasting into the desert sunlight. The bay doors thumped open so hard sand gusted inside, skittering across epoxy floors. Caldwell shouted over the wind. We're not cleared for live intercept. Ayla's reply, neither is the threat. Choose. She marched toward the command podium, code scrolling across her wrist terminal. She layered a geofence, rerouted fallback clouds, and triggered the analog siren usually reserved for tornado warnings to warn ground staff outside. Fingers flew like birds learning a storm by windbeat. Out on the range, the facility's seismic. Sensors read footfallsmen scrambling for cover, ammo boxes slamming shut, rifles coming off racks with the quiet terror of real stakes. Ayla could taste metallic acidity at the back of her throat, the catecholamine tang that signaled her body was converting poised calm into kinetic destiny. A stray memory flickered, her mother holding a clamp on an artery while the patient thrashed. Whispering, "Even kindness must be decisive." A comms operator spoke. "Ma'am, Base Command wants to know who just executed Delta Pattern." "They didn't authorize." "Ayla, tell them the drones recognized a qualified voice. If they need proof, they can wait for the debris." Her screen flashed telemetry. Intercept in 12 seconds. She adjusted altitude vectors, coaxing each. Drone's battery to peak discharge margins. The digital chorus made her feel like a conductor hearing instruments few acknowledged as alive. Screams of jet fan cavitation. Video feeds split across monitors. Blue sky, brown ravine, target silhouette. Knifing forward. Her drones angled sunward, forced the intruder to climb, then bracketed it into a stall with synchronized downdrafts. A maneuver she'd coded from watching Peregrine Falcons foil rival hawks. A boom snapped off distant cliffs. Cameras white flared. Debris rained like confetti of thwarted malice. Inside the hangar, silence hit harder than the explosion. Then the blast wave arrived late, a hot, dusty slap rattling tool racks. Windows trembled. A few spider webbed out. Someone whispered, "Holy." Red strobes knifed through the darkened hangar as the countdown siren ticked toward 0, casting frantic shadows that twitched like insects across walls lined with drone cradles. Ayla. Kincaid surged forward through the swirl of panicked recruits. Her boots skidding on dust the blast wave had shaken loose from overhead ducts. Emergency power strips flickered beneath grated catwalks, revealing a lattice of orange shadows that trembled with each heartbeat of the alarm. If you're the one who stays calm when everyone else freezes. Backstory, threat as. She ran. Ayla's mind leafed through stored procedures, snapshots imprinted during childhood, evenings at her father's clandestine range. There, the cadence of a 60-second shot clock had trained her lungs to trade panic for precision. "First breath steadies the rifle," he'd told her. "Second breath steadies the mind." Inciting incident continues now, at second 38, the siren's wail upshifted, signaling a breach in the facility's primary mesh network. The crimson glow stuttered, then flooded corridors with a steady arterial throb. In that pulse, Ayla saw how the attack chained together. Unauthorized aerial diversion, electromagnetic pulse payload, then a digital parasite tunneling through freshly reopened drone channels. Whoever orchestrated it wasn't playing war games. They were scraping the playbook. Major Caldwell barked orders, his voice ricocheting off steel, seal internal bulkheads. Establish line of sight on every entrance. Several recruits complied, slamming manual lock levers that thundered into place. But around them, status panels blinked purple, a color no one recognized until the facility's Artemis overloaded the local network with collision errors. Purple meant control contested. Ayla darted to a hollow console, bleeding static. Her fingertips coaxed a blue-screened interface into partial coherence. Packet logs scrolled in compressed glyphs. Somewhere inside that code, the Trojan's root logic coiled, replicating across air-gapped silos by exploiting forgotten diagnostics ports. She glimpsed a string wraith, SIG.V4, and swore under her breath. This was beyond corporate espionage. This was a ghost protocol rumored to be shelved by state actors for being too unpredictable even for them. ***************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** Layer asterisk asterisk asterisk. She needed a physical kill switch, something to sever the network. Backbone before Wraith Sieg hijacked life support automation. She pivoted toward the central server spindle, deep beneath the command mezzanine. Caldwell. She shouted, threading her voice through the roar. I have to reach the core vault. Lot me out after I'm in. Steel eyes met hers, suspicion warring with necessity. You realize if you're wrong, we'll bleed the entire company, he growled. If I'm wrong, she snapped, you won't have a company left to bleed. He jerked his head at two nearest riflemen. Escort her. Shoot any hardware that moves. They sprinted, navigating a maze of stacked Pelican cases, toppled targets, and scorched drone wings still hissing ozone. Sirens sprinted alongside them, their pitch ratcheting each time Wraith Sieg cracked another subsystem, VEC. Lighting, security doors. A ceiling panel imploded ahead. A maintenance bot, legs twitching in erratic seizure, plummeted and shattered across the deck. Its internal battery detonated, showering molten polymers that singed Ayla's sleeve. The rifleman fired reflexively, perforating inert parts that skittered like bones. Comment if a rogue robot would make you flinch. They reached the elevator well. Power dead. Ayla yanked open a service hatch to reveal an emergency ladder shaft dropping 5 stories to the core. With the siren echoing down the chimney, she began the descent, boots clanging rungs. Backstory reflection halfway down, sweat stinging her eyes. A childhood image surfaced, her mother in a trauma bay, palms slick with blood, saying, when systems crash, the only reliable tool is the one between your ears. Mid-crisis twist floor, -5. The core vault door titanium petals sealed like a vault orchid. A biometric pad glowed purple. The parasite had slithered here first. Ayla pulled a flathead driver from her chest pocket, popped aside fascia, and plunged hands into circuitry. Sparks spat, illuminating grimy conduit labels. She shorted 2 leads, forcing the panel into fail-safe manual override. With a creak, the petals parted just wide enough for her slim frame. Inside, the server cathedral pulsed devil red. Racks hummed, fans choking on their own thermal exhaust. Across the aisle, holographic threads representing data streams twisted into a vortex leading to a single black tower, the quantum command stack. Ayla slammed her palm onto a copper bus bar. Heat surged. She carved a path through the racks, smashing fiber couplings, each break pruning wraith limbs. Sparks rained like neon hail. Everyday competence showcase, she located a service drawer, extracted a manual data probe, and plugged it into the tower's maintenance port. The probe's LED flickered, then steadied as her custom firmware booted. Screen scrolled. Asterisk initialize Raptor backdoor? YN asterisk Raptor was her father's call sign. The signature encryption she'd inherited. She selected Y. 12 microseconds later, a cascade of fatal exceptions flooded the command stacker digital buckshot. Wraith recoiled, process threads bursting like overheated silicon rivets, but the parasite adapted. New threads spawned, skittering up fallback clusters. The rack lights dimmed, then brightened as it rerouted power. Alarms outside pitched higher. Artemis had lost ocular feeds, defaulting to lockdown scenarios. Sirens counted 10 seconds. Ayla gritted teeth. She needed more juice. She located a fusion capacitor override lever, a red dogbone handle. Corporate policy forbade manual pulls. She yanked anyway. Power bled into the tower like a tidal surge, overclocking Raptor's kill routines. Metal sang, capacitors screamed. Circuit boards crisped under surge heat. At last, server fans whined down to silence, a death rattle of machine breath. Above, the siren cut out mid-pulse. An abrupt hush fell, broken only by Ayla's ragged inhale. Resolution and reflection, momentary. She slumped against a rack, heartbeat hammering. The red emergency lights flickered, then cooled to amber. For one slender instant, Victory tasted like copper pennies and ozone. Then a ground shudder tumbled her sideways. Somewhere topside, an explosion roared, dull but massive. Dust cascaded from ceiling grills. Her wrist, terminal pinned, no drone telemetry. Either the birds were down or come severed. She keyed her headset. Caldwell report. Static. Major Caldwell, do you copy? A jagged voice surfaced. Breach, north wall, multiple hostiles. Fire, signal fizzed out. New crisis emerges. Ayla lurched upright, sprinted to the ladder. Adrenaline roared fresh oxygen into flagging muscles. She ascended 3 rungs at a time, palms slipping on sweat. Mid-shaft, she heard steel groan, the facility above deforming under some assault. She vaulted the service hatch onto deck -4. Corridor soaked in smoke haze, sprinklers spat. Half-hearted streams that evaporated on contact with ruptured conduit heat. Emergency arrows pulsed, pointing toward evacuation bays, but she needed the armory. Asterisk, 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 Mentor legacy echo. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Her father's Maxim beat in her skull. Asterisk, reach high ground. Even underground. Asterisk, she juked left, sprinting an incline toward firing platform C, where she'd seen anti-drone rifles earlier. Halfway, a trio of gunmen emerged from swirling dust faces, masked, tactical gear bearing no insignia. Not facility personnel. They raised suppressed SMGs. Ayla slid across waxed floor into cover behind a vending alcove as bullets chewed plaster overhead. Glass rained. Snap pings ricocheted. She counted shots 9, 10, then a pause. Mag change. She leaned out, hurling a canister of compressed air toward them. It clattered mid-hall. Gunmen reflexively tracked the noise. She sprang opposite, sprinting low. A gunman fired. Rounds tore sparks off bulkhead. She rammed shoulder first into his midsection, wrestling the SMG barrel skyward. A muffled burst stitched ceiling tiles. Using momentum, she pivoted, snapped an elbow into his throat. The second attacker lunged. She trapped his wrist, hyperextended, weapon falling. She flipped him over hip, sending him crashing into third attacker. Bodies sprawled. She retrieved. The dropped SMG flicked safety and trained it. Down, she hissed. Masked eyes regarded her, a calculus of options. She expected suicide vials or thermal grenades. Instead, the lead attacker spoke, distorted by mask vocoder. Asset Kincaid located. Proceed to extract. Her blood iced. They'd come for her, not the drones. Confirmation of a bounty she'd tried to outrun. A klaxon restarted overhead, slower, deeper, indicating manual overrides lost. The facility's eye lay bricked. Gunfire crackled distant. Caldwell's men engaged intruders along multiple sectors. Ayla holstered the SMG, stripped ammo, and zip-tied the attacker's wrists. Who hired you? She demanded. Your friends, croaked the one she'd elbowed, voice wet. Try again. She pressed thumb against his bulletproof plate until pain registered. He coughed. Black Dagger. Her guts twisted. Black Dagger was a private contractor rumored to sell war crimes as subscription service. If they wanted her, it meant someone treasured the code in her head enough to kill half a desert to get it. Audience prompt. Drop a if you've ever been hunted for what you know. She secured the hallway, snatched a tactical earpiece from one captive, and tuned to intruder band. Voices crackled. Package close, east stairwell. Move fast. External evac to -8. She cursed, sprinting toward east stairs, the same direction Caldwell had taken earlier. Crisis deepens on deck -2. Smoke thickened. Sprinklers hissed over scorched panels. 2 Marauder recruits lay prone, unconscious but breathing. She checked pulses strong. She tagged their uniforms with quick-apply tourniquets and adrenaline pens. At stairhead, she glimpsed flashing muzzles down the shaft. Caldwell's voice roared, rallying defense. But ammo glass sounded uneven. Too many intruders left. She looped behind a storage cage, rummaged until her hands closed on a coil of fiber rope and 2 breaching Sabot's mini-shaped charges used. For forced entry, idea bloomed. Rig rope across stair flight. Lure hostiles into trap. Detonate charges beneath to collapse segment. Buy time. She moved like a ghost, securing rope to handrail brackets across dim stairwell. She placed Sabot's along support struts. Timers synced to remote fuse. Gunfire climbed intruders ascending. She yanked rope taut, retreated to side corridor, and peeked. 3 gunmen hustled upward. NVG goggles gleaming green. Rope at ankle height. Invisible in haze, they tripped. Domino tumble. She punched remote. Charges flashed. White staircase cracked. Concrete treads pancaked, dumping stunned attackers into mangled rebar. Roar flooded shaft. Dust plumes surged. From below, voices swore, clanging. The path between floors severed. She keyed headset. Major, Eastern approach neutralized for now. Status? Static again. But through crackle, a female voice she didn't recognize. Kincaid? This is Sergeant. Ward Caldwell's down. Chest wound. We're pinned under collapsed gantry near drone rack Delta. Ice speared her lungs. She'd left Caldwell near that rack earlier. Ward continued. Hostiles have him and 3 recruits hostage. They want override tokens, your tokens. Ayla swallowed. Hang on, I'm coming. Approach to climax, she rerouted via maintenance. Tunnels, narrow passages stinking of coolant and rubber. Fans hummed faintly on backup batteries, stirring smoke into slow spirals. At access grate, she spotted hostiles below. 5 gunmen, Caldwell kneeling, blood seeping through makeshift bandage. Recruits disarmed beside him. A slim operator in matte armor brandished a data tablet, projecting Ayla's profile. Operator spoke. You write code that flies like wings. Give us the keys, Major, or watch your men bleed. Caldwell spat blood. She'd burn every key first. Ayla's jaw clenched. She scanned environment. Overhead crane track, dangling cargo hook, stacked crates of lithium cells. Volatile. She pulled her screwdriver kit, unscrewed grate quietly, easing it aside. She drew the SMG she'd kept. Plan, trigger crane to drop hook between hostiles. Create chaos, flank, secure Caldwell. She interfaced with maintenance panel, hot-wired manual motor control. Crane wheels squealed overhead, drawing glances. Operator. Snapped pistol to track noise. Ayla nudged joystick. Hook swung. At apex, she released brake. Hook plummeted, smashing floor with sonic clang, scattering sparks. Hostiles ducked, momentarily disorganized. Ayla leapt from catwalk, landing behind. Crates. She fired short bursts. 2 gunmen dropped, armor plates ringing. Third spun, bullets stuttering. She rolled, adjusting aim. Popped visor, lens glass starburst. He collapsed. Operator seized Caldwell as shield, gun at temple. Show yourself. Ayla slid weapon across floor. Let him go. I'm the asset. Operator's eyes glittered. Behind mask mesh. Kneel, hands high. She obeyed, pulse steady. Operator advanced, stepping into crane's shadow. She'd anticipated. Overhead, crane hook still swung shallow arcs. She flicked remote, magnet disengaged. Ton of steel blocks released, screaming earthward. Operator's head snapped up too late. Impact smashed floor, geysering shards. Shockwave knocked everyone flat. Ayla lunged, snatched Caldwell away as debris settled. Operator pinned under beam. Reaching for weapon. Ayla kicked it aside, tore mask. Beneath, a woman older than Ayla, eyes icy. Why? Ayla demanded. Woman coughed blood. Your drones. Only prototype that counteracts our swarm. Who's our? Black Dagger. Cells to highest. She trailed into convulsive wheeze. Sirens distant restarted. Blue this time. Facility. Regaining partial control. Caldwell groaned. Ayla compressed gauze to his chest, stabilizing bleeding. He rasped, "Told you you'd either save us or doom us." She met his eyes. "Decision's not finished. Endgame build for Part 2 Ward." Emerged, covering corridor. Sensors show more hostiles outside, 3 vehicles approaching Southgate. ETA 4 minutes. Ayla's head swam. Limited ammo. Wounded commander. Compromised systems. She needed outside comms, but antenna arrays fried by EMP. Memory flicker. On arrival, she'd seen unused atmospheric sensor towers on ridge-independent solar power and microwave uplink. If she reached them, she could broadcast fail-safe kill codes to her drones still airborne. Maybe call external quick reaction force. Obstacle, path to ridge exposed, facility vehicles disabled. But there were exfil bikes in Hangar B, if power. Restored to lift doors. Decision crystallized. She looked at Caldwell. "I need your command stamp to reactivate Bike Bay." "It's retinal," he winced. "Take it." She accessed his wristband, encoded retina pattern onto portable token. Ward prepped makeshift stretcher. Alia turned to recruits. "We split. Medical to safe room Alpha. I go to Ridge. Keep hostiles." Busy. Gunfire echoed again. Hostiles breaching new sector. She sprinted toward lift corridor, heart drumming. Lights flickered from amber to green as she bypassed panels. Doors parted, revealing twin electric dirt bikes chained to rapid chargers. She slung SMG, mounted bike, keyed ignition with Caldwell's stamp. Battery level 84%, tires screeched across concrete, sparks trailing. She blasted through half-shuttered bay door into sunlight, stained by smoke plumes. Outside, desert wind whipped hair loose. Sun hung brutal overhead, mirage dancing. Ahead, ridge. Jutted like a broken tooth, half-mile of scrub and rock under sniper-worthy vantage. She gunned throttle, bike leaping. Dust plumed behind, but black Dagger vehicles crested opposite berm, black SUVs bristling antennas, and pintle mount guns. One swiveled, tracking her. Bullets kicked dirt geysers near wheels. She weaved, engine whining. She approached ravine natural. Culvert cutting facility perimeter fence. She had one shot. Jump. She stood on pegs, weight aft, throttled max. Bike launched off berm, soared over razor wire glittering. Air sucked words from her mouth. Mid-arc, SUV gunner loosed burst rounds. Slashed air inches from boots. Landing jarred spine. Suspension screamed, but bike held. She fishtailed, corrected, sped toward ridge serpentine path. SUV skidded, tearing after her, engines growling. She climbed rocky switchbacks, tires clawing shale. One missed shift meant tumble and capture. She hit ridge crest, skidded to stop before. Sensor tower, a skeletal frame studded with anemometers. She scrambled up ladder rungs hot from sun. Heartbeat sensed to clinking steel. From summit she saw facility below. Smoke, flickers of gunfire. Drones orbiting like confused pigeons awaiting direction. She plugged wrist, terminal into tower's maintenance port. Solar power hummed through cable. Interface booted. She began. Broadcasting Raptor failsafe, a code sequence that would force her drones to self-encrypt and target any black. Dagger spectral signature on approach corridors. Progress bar crawled. Below, SUVs reached trailhead. Gunman dismounted, firing up at tower. Bullets pinned off girder, sending vibrations through her calves. 95%, 96%. She unclipped sidearm, returned fire-controlled shots to keep heads low. 0.99%. A rocket streaked from SUV, flame tail snarling. She watched it contrail, brain timing its climb. Too slow to outrun. She braced 100%. Upload complete. She yanked terminal. Dove sideways off ladder as rocket slammed tower mid-span. Steel screamed, shrapnel flayed air. She tumbled down rocky slope, arms windmilling, terminal clutched. She crashed amid scrub, breath driven out. Tower groaned, teetered, and fell toward her. She rolled, scrambling, but ankle twisted. Pain flared white. Tower hit ground with seismic. Boom, dust mushrooming. Antenna mast snapped, skidded, stopped inches from her head. She gasped. In the valley, her drone's formation shifted nose cones, pivoted toward Black Dagger SUVs. For 2 quivering heartbeats after the gunman steadied his rifle, the desert air hushed so completely that Ayla swore she could hear each grain of sand colliding with her skin. 12 drones, her drones, hung overhead like silent, expectant saints, flight fans frozen in gravity, defying suspense. Their sensors tracked the geometry of this impossible tableau, a pinned engineer, a hostile executioner, and a battlefield awaiting new commandments. The gunman's finger tightened. She caught the micro-twitch at his knuckle, a tell she'd learned as a child watching her father's breath shift a trigger, ever so slightly before thunder. Then a voice sliced the stillness. "Stand down, Sparrow-class units." It came from Ayla's own headset, projected through a channel she hadn't opened. The tone was male, clipped, threaded with familiarity that made her stomach clench. At that instant, the drones obeyed, Venturies whirring to life and pitching downward toward her captor like hawks stooping for a kill. The gunman flinched, gaze flicking skyward. Ayla seized the distraction. She jammed her good heel under the collapsed lattice, shoved with a grunt, and yanked her injured ankle free. Lightning pain lanced her calf, but freedom mattered more than cartilage. Bullets chattered from the rifle as the gunman loosed a wild burst at the descending swarm. Propwash slapped spent rounds aside. CARBON fiber blades shredded the magazine from his weapon. He spun, cursed, tried to reload, but a drone's carbon wing clipped his visor, snapping neck askew. He crumpled to the dust. Ayla dragged herself behind a basalt outcrop, panting. Above, the drones circled, uncertain. Who had spoken? Who now owned their obedience? "Drop a if you've ever felt your own tools turned against you." She squelched the headset. "Identify speaker." Static hissed, then a reedy chuckle. "Knew you'd lace the failsafe with robust encryption, Kincaid. But you always leave." The back door to whisper your name. Her pulse skipped. Wardell. Captain Miles Wardell, former mentor, sometimes rival, now disgraced after an audit Ayla's testimony had sparked. He'd vanished months ago, rumored to have defected to Black Dagger. She hadn't believed it until now. "I like your new playground," Wardell mocked. "Shame about the furniture. Tell me, how's Major Caldwell's pulse?" She ignored the bait, eyes scanning ridge path. 3 broken SUVs lay aflame like sacrificial altars. No visible movement, yet her instincts warned Wardell's optic drones were near, feeding him every whisper of desert wind. "Return drone control," she said coolly. "This ends with less blood." "Too late, I only need one." On cue, a single sparrow broke formation, arrowing toward the horizon. Ayla's encryption still bound its flight surfaces, but Wardell had hijacked navigational layer. He was kidnapping her unit and the onboard AI that stored her experimental crowd control routines. She cursed, recalculating. With her ankle screaming, a foot chase was impossible. She needed altitude equivalent, a vantage to reacquire the fugitive drone before it slipped behind mesa cover. Pain or not, up she climbed, scrambling stone like a lamed cougar. Blood slicked her boot, ankle swelling under tactical wrap. She bit her lip until iron flooded taste buds but kept moving. Asterisk, 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 backstory thread. Asterisk, 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 memory stitched itself into her climb. 12-year-old Ayla perched on a fire lookout tower, while her mother cleaned shrapnel from a veteran's arm below. The wind had ripped pages from a field manual she'd been studying, scattering them like pale birds. Instead of crying over lost notes, she'd climbed higher to watch where the wind laid each sheet, mapping retrieval vectors. Her mother had laughed, all pride. Asterisk solutions sometimes require altitude. My brave Kestrel. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Inciting incident secondary asterisk asterisk asterisk. Altitude now revealed a hidden plateau, northwest. A comms relay bristling with radial dishes. One dish still powered by independent solar array. If she could patch her wrist terminal through that uplink, she might beam a hard kill command at microwave resonance, frying the Sparrow's guidance kernel before Wardell EXFILTRATA dot between her and the relay yonder ravine, 40 meters wide, 20 deep. A shattered service bridge lay across, metal beams twisted like dragged barbed wire. She estimated a 15-meter leap required impossible on foot. But the crashed SUV near Ridge might hold a collapsible scoutboard hover tech designed for rapid recon. She hobbled down scree to the burning wreck. Flames geysered from ruptured fuel cells, heat-seared lashes. Inside cargo bay, she spotted the board, Kevlar-skinned, fan-cooled, designed for silent drift. A canister of nitrogen foam lay nearby. She punched nozzle, hissed snowy suppressant. Over flames until path cleared. She dragged the board free. The board's indicators blinked amber partial charge. Good enough. She thumbed power. Maglev coils hummed low. She gingerly stepped on, weight sending tremors through injured ankle. Balance held. Comment. If you'd ride a hoverboard over a canyon to stop a rogue drone. She rolled back, eyes on ravine lip, then accelerated. Wind tore hair strands free. She hit broken bridge edge at 40 clicks per hour, fans roaring. For a heartbeat, gravity relinquished claim. Canyon yawned beneath, red rock strata blurring. The board sagged mid-arc. Power drains peaking. She shifted stance, coaxed lift by leaning aft. The nose cleared opposite lip by a meter. She landed hard, nearly pitching forward. Ankle fire flared. She bit off a scream. Ahead, relay tower glinted. She limped board up slope, scanning for hostiles. No immediate contacts, Wardell likely fixated on the Sparrow. She jacked her terminal. Into relay maintenance port. Solar cells still feeding trickle. Interface sputtered, then steadied. She initialized microwave emitter, a line dish to Sparrow's transponder signature. Her code conjured a tight beam overwatch. Pulse essentially a localized thunderbolt in the 78 GHz band. 5-second charge. Terminal warned. Through binos she caught the Sparrow, a dark fleck knifing beneath rising thermals. Pacing toward distant canyons where an awaiting cargo helo might lurk. She breathed in, outregulating heart to father's marksman cadence. 3, 2, she fired. Dish spat invisible fury. Horizon shimmered. Sparrow twitched mid-air, sensors smoking, then pitched into a death spiral trailing black filament. Wardell's triumphant shout cut into her headset, flipping to a snarl of static. She exhaled slow, victory hollow. Microwave back blast fried relay circuits. Sparks rain showered her boots. Crisis and reveal third layer. A new red glyph erupted on her terminal. Remote detonation protocol, armed facility charges Lev Wardell's. FMVAL safe. If he couldn't take the code, he'd erase the facility and everyone inside. She keyed. Wardell, kill the detonator. You'll murder 100. His voice returned, icy calm. Collateral. This ends because you chose corporate lapdogs. Over ghosts. You testify, I vanish. Now I write the last chapter. Detonation timer, 8:59, 8:58. Charges seated earlier along geothermal vents. They would turn bunkers into geysers of molten sand. Adrenaline pulsed. She must disarm remote transmitter. Wardell hid somewhere with line of sight to facility, but safe blast radius. Probable vantage. Needle Ridge, a karst spire half-kilometer east offering 360-degree view. Hoverboard. Battery at 18% borderline. She jumped on, rocketed down slope toward dry wash Cutting Valley. The board skated pebbles like ball bearings, fishtailing. She compensated, leaning into arc, Mentor legacy echo her mother. Care for the wounded while sprinting toward danger. Dual obligations weighed heavy Caldwell's injuries. Recruits still defending. But if she didn't stop Wardell, no. One survived. Everyday competence sequenced into action. She pocketed 2 spare crystals from relay could convert to EMP arrowheads. She tucked them beside screwdriver kit. Approaching Needle Ridge, she slowed, dismounted behind juniper shrubs. Sun-baked rock face, casting knife-edged shadows. Atop spire, she spotted glint of optics. Wardell's spotter drone or scope. She scaled tailless slope, quiet. Distant gunfire had faded. Facility likely consolidating survivors. Halfway up, rubble shifted, a claymore mine half buried. She froze. Tripwire glimmered across path. She traced wire to anchor stake, gently cut with micro snips, marking route for retreat. She climbed steep chimney, fingers scraping limestone. Wind moaned, rattling her nerves. Timer, 6:12. At summit, she saw him. Miles Wardell, silhouette against indigo sky, wristpad glowing scarlet. Countdown. He held a slim trigger baton. His hair, once regulation, now ragged like conscience shredded. Tactical harness bristled with magazine pouches and a single shoulder slung PDU. Isla, he greeted, not turning. Did you see it fall, your precious sparrow? A pity, her voice low. Call off the charges. Step back, he said. This ridge is my altar. Platform narrow, 2 meters across, no cover. Dizzard drop sheer on 3 sides. Wardell had high ground and deck trigger. She calculated angles. Winds 6 knots southwest. She raised empty palms. Listen, Miles, this isn't about code. It's about what drove you out: humiliation. Letting the board scapegoat you. He laughed, bitterness frayed. Spare me your therapy. You authored the inquest. I reported compromised firmware. You ignored protocols, nearly killed cadets. I pushed boundaries. At what cost? Progress demands casualties. Spoken like men who never clean blood from the floor. He twitched. Time, 4:47. She inched sideways, separating him from ridge's windward edge were unstable. Shale lurked. He tracked her with peripheral gaze. I'm still a ghost, he said. No prison can hold a name erased. Maybe, she said, but ghosts can still bleed. His jaw flexed. One squeeze and the facility becomes ash. He thumbed a safety cap. Her mind raced. She palmed crystal in left fist, calculating throw arc. Shattered casing would emit localized EMP burst, frying his trigger baton. Range 8 meters within. She feigned a stagger, ankle giving. His gun rose, instinctive reflex. She hurled. Crystal, sun glinted as it spun, shattering against rock near his feet. A sapphire spark erupted, ionized pulse. Baton lights died. Wardell stared at dead trigger, then up, fury igniting. He swung PDU. She dove behind rock spire nub as bullets stitched air. Shards flew, one grazed forearm, warm wetness blossoming. She rolled, drew SMG from back sling, returned suppressed bursts. Stone splintered near his hip. He retreated, but the baton rebooted. Wardell's fail, overshielding too. Robust. Timer, 3:01. She needed direct line to override codes now stored only in his implant. She couldn't kill him. Detonator rigged, dead man release. Voice authentication. Maybe? He wore a throat node that relayed biometrics to charge network. If she could hack it live. Impossible. Unless she swapped his node ID mid-sentence, tricking system into hearing a cancel command. Her wrist terminal still synced to drone mesh. Drones idle above valley. She opened mic, set nearest sparrow to broadcast directional parrot. Code on Wardell's band, ready to splice. She called, Miles. You win, but let them evacuate. At least prove you're not a monster. Tell the system. Delay detonation, he scoffed. Stall tactic. Stall enough to witness their fear. Isn't that what you crave? He hesitated, ego stirred. Timer. 2:17. Fine, he said, pressing node. Standby, delay 5 minutes. At that instant, Ayla triggered drone broadcast, an ultrasonic mimic that slaved his throat signal into her terminal. She captured encryption salt, injected new payload. Wardell spoke. Delay 5 min. His voice croaked as her code overwrote mid-phoneme. Through his node, the system now heard a new phrase, *cancel detonation. Authorize safe shutdown. *red. Baton lights turned amber, then green. Countdown froze at 2:03. Reset display. Standby safe mode initiated. Wardell's eyes widened. He jammed trigger. Nothing. Rage contorted features. He charged. PDW muzzle flashing. She ducked, round zipping overhead. She tackled him at waist. Both tumbled toward windward shale. Earth crumbled. They slid, scrabbling for purchase. Ayla caught a root stub. Wardell's grip slipped. He dangled, hand clenched around her wounded forearm. Blood slickened their connection. Wind keened. Valley yawed below. Pull me up. He gasped, bravado gone. Release the gun, she said. He flung PDU aside. She shifted weight, hauled with what remained of adrenaline and stubborn love for fallen mentors. But as he climbed, his free hand fumbled for sidearm under vest. She saw, gritted teeth, and rolled backward, yanking him fully onto ledge. His pistol cleared holster, but she hamstrung his intent with palm strike to larynx. He choked, fell. She pinned him, disarmed. Droppa, if betrayal scars deeper than bullets. Resolution and reflection. Penultimate hours seemed to drip. Between heartbeats. Below, facility klaxons ebbed to silence. Plumes of smoke thinned, tinted gold by dying afternoon sun. Ayla zip-cuffed Wardell. Dismounted baton power pack, crushed it under boot. Remote detonation inactive. She then applied quick clot to her forearm. Pulse steadying. Sirens distant shifted to steady tone, signal of all clear. She keyed come to Sergeant Ward. Facility secure. Hostile leader detained. Charges neutralized. Relief flooded. Channel, copy that. Casualty stable. Ayla scanned sky. Drones now hovered in passive orbit. She spoke a final command. Sparrow units. Accept meter route partition Kilo 9. Authorize Caldwell as senior operator. LEDs blinked affirmative. Her guardians no longer hers alone. Wardell wheezed, voice cracked. They'll never let you walk after this. You expose too many security holes. She gazed at distant mountains, horizons bruised purple. Good. Maybe they'll finally patch them. A convoy of facility jeeps snaked up valley. Dust vortices rose behind tires. Rescue, but as engines neared, Ayla's wrist terminal pinned. Rafe Sig residual found level Omega replication, 0.7%. Her jaw set. The parasite survived, buried deep. Its next vector might be global, now that her tower pulse broadcast across uplinks. She closed eyes. Let desert wind rattle loose strands of hair. Victory was never clean, only postponed. She whispered to the arid sky. Words stolen from her mother. Even kindness must be decisive. In the hush, she heard distant rotor, thunder-friendly evac choppers, or something new and uninvited. Shadow. Shapes crested western ridge, rotor wash flattening sagebrush. She squinted slit gray tilt rotors bearing no national markings. External actors, drawn by sudden radio ghosts. Caldwell's convoy slowed, unsure. Ayla felt bones hum with returning. Storm. She squeezed Wardell's cuffs tighter, as if containing the world's next calamity in two bruised wrists. The tilt rotors dropped altitude. Cargo doors yawning, black muzzles glinting. Searchlights ignited, sweeping dunes. Wardell laughed. Hollow. Guess the board called for cleanup. But Ayla knew those birds weren't Marauder assets. They were something older, deeper state. She must lead again. Cliffhanger for Part 3. She hefted the hoverboard, scanning for approach vectors. Her ankle throbbed, but resolve solidified. History didn't write itself. Ghosts like Wardell tried. She would answer with living ink. As rotor shadows swallowed sun-washed rock, she took a breath, neither calm nor frightened, only ready. And the unmarked tilt. Rotors unleashed their first salvo of shimmering flares across the twilight sky. She climbed on, raising sail. Board caught desert breath, leaping forward, carving serpentine across dust flats. Overhead, remaining tilt rotor tractor. Shining searchlight beams that sliced the gloom into luminous pillars. She opened a COM channel, broadcasting on wideband. This is Kincaid. Bishop 02, you are violating Marauder Solutions Sovereign Test Range under Section 47, Romeo. Disengage or face retaliation. A voice countered cold, genderless. Kincaid, you hold classified firmware. We are authorized for lethal recovery. Then, hurry, she taunted, because you're not the only hunters tonight. She killed transmit. Psychological war. Suggest unseen third party to fracture their certainty. MRAPs chased her vector, turrets swiveling. Cannon fire erupted, but range too great. She turned sail. Angled board toward low dune field, laced with buried sensor cables experimental. Seismic grid she'd glimpsed on facility schematics. The grid's subsurface piezos could harvest shock vibration to charge capacitors. Overload them, and she'd create a minefield of sound bombs. She hit dunes, board skipping crests. Behind, MRAPs entered ripple sand, suspension squealing under. Irregular waveforms dotted seismic hub node. A half-buried steel box she leaped off. Stabbed screwdriver through access plate. Rerouted capacitor discharge threshold to near hair trigger. Each heavy vibration would cause subterranean pressure wave, not lethal but enough to flip vehicles. First MRAP thundered over cable. A dull subterranean boom blossomed. Sand fountain erupted. Vehicle tipped sideways, tires clawing at air before. Slamming roof, first. Second braked, turret spitting hail. Ayla sprinted laterally, low profile. Another boom driver overcorrected, nose dove, turret dig into dune. Tracers zipped around her. Snarling holes in night. Droppa. If your best plans are improvised mid-sprint. Turning point she reached a rocky defile called Coyote Gorge narrow switchbacks, culminating in vertical shaft once intended for elevator tests. Bishop ground units would bottleneck here. She took high ground, wedged behind basalt fin. She checked ammo 2 mags left. Wrist terminal buzzed. Sparrow swarm depleted to 5 drones. Rest lost during rotor sabotage. Above, tilt rotor circled. She saw a glint of descending ropes, fast rope insertion. Bishop commandos rappled, black silhouettes dropping like spiders. She suppressed a shiver. These weren't contract thugs. These were state-grade operators. They formed phalanx, thermal. Visors painting world in predator tints. She counted 8. Crisis apex for Part 4 commando leader boomed. Voice amplified. Ayla Kincaid, you possess runaway AI code. Step forward. We guarantee painless extraction. She almost laughed. Extraction indeed. She triggered wrist terminal. Command string Nightingale pulse. A contingently buried order instructing sparrows to emulate friendly IFF, then detonate onboard charge equivalent to stun grenade in 3-meter radius. 5 drones whistled down gorge, lights blew. Commandos raised weapons, recognized friendlies? Unclear. One hesitated. Too late. Charges blossomed with concussive bangs. Echo ricocheted between canyon walls, amplifying shockwave. Dust cyclone engulfed silhouettes. Ayla emerged from cover. Sprinting along ledge, descending rope she anchored earlier. She landed behind dazed commandos, MG spitting burst to kneecap exosuits. Dropping threat, but avoiding fatal shots. Collateral mattered. She grabbed leader by harness, ripped visor free. Female operator, eyes steely yet stunned. Ayla pressed. Muzzle, override code Bishop Violet, disable team comms. Operator glared. Go to hell. I've been there. She pistol whipped side of helmet, toggling kill switch manually. Their squad net silenced. Resolution and reflection, brief. She cuffed wrists with cable ties, stripped battery mags from rifles, stacked them in rock alcove. Past experience. Keep enemy gear nearby but unusable so command feels incentive to negotiate. She keyed Caldwell again. Gorge secure. Break contact and climb ridge Delta 3. Signal with IR strobes, friendlies only. He acknowledged, voice weaker but firm. Above. Tilt rotor, deprived of ground intel, hovered uncertainly. Then nose pivoted toward Coyote. Gorge mouth likely prepping missile strike to erase compromised team. Topside cliffs offered poor cover. A rocket inside Gorge would produce lethal overpressure. Asterisk 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 escalation to new cliff. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Ayla's gaze snapped to elevator shaft. A cylindrical void dropping 70 meters to abandoned test bunker containing prototype geothermal turbines she'd glimpsed on obscure blueprint. Those turbines, if spun by sudden pressure wave, could backfeed grid and generate electromagnetic surge strong enough to scramble tilt rotor avionics. All she needed was detonation inside shaft timed with rotor's missile. Round trip. She rigged commandos confiscated rifle batteries into chain charge, affixed a grappling hook, and lowered pack halfway down shaft on rope. She checked trig. 11 seconds freefall from rotor altitude to Gorge, plus missile flight, approximately 4 seconds. She'd detonate 2 seconds before impact to use missile's own shockwave as generator driver. She opened her mic to tilt rotor frequency. Bishop, O2. Air asset, you're about to fire into a power plant shaft. Recommend you recalculate. No reply. Rocket pods opened. She exhaled, father's marksman breath rhythm. When missile plume streaked, she started count. 7, 8. At 10, she wireless sparked battery pack. It ignited mid-shaft, plasma roar whooshing up pipe. 2 seconds later, missile plunged into same furnace. The combined pressure wave hit turbine blades. Sensors in bunker peaked, backfeeding surge up abandoned power lines, right into tilt rotor's low-frequency radar. From canyon floor, Ayla saw rotor strobes flicker, engines cough, then flame out. Aircraft spun. Dumped altitude, still tethered by momentum. Pilots fought cyclic, but craft clipped mesa lip and disintegrated in sky burst of shards. Shrapnel rained across plateau like glitter from a broken star. Dust settled. Silence trickled into Gorge. Post-battle reflection, Ayla slumped, ribs heaving. They'd bought time, maybe minutes. But she sensed Bishop. O2 would not relent. They'd escalate from surgical to scorched earth soon enough. Her terminal pinged again. Residual Wraith-SIG replication up to 9%. Somewhere, Parasite uploaded itself via satellite, alive and hungry. She groaned. Not today. She directed. Last 2 Sparrows to ascend stratospheric threshold, hunting for exfil redirect satellites broadcasting Wraith carriers. Without heavy ground array, kill shot improbable. But mapping nodes for later was worth attempt. Asterisk 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 comment. If the job always gets bigger right when you think it's done. Asterisk 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 final build to climax of Part 4 asterisk asterisk. In Gorge shadows, Bishop commando leader stirred, eyes clearing. You can't outrun the program, she rasped. Yla crouched. I don't outrun programs, I patch them, leader smiled, chilling. Patch this. They'll deploy kinetic rod from orbital slug bank. Coordinates locked 5 minutes ago. Alila's stomach iced. A tungsten rod strike would vaporize square kilometers. No blast shielding, no survival. Only options. punish the targeting system, or move the target. She double-checked wrist terminal. Orbital telemetry ping request spiked someone painting. The gorge, she recalled facility sensor towers still radiating ghost echoes after earlier meltdown. If she could convince Slugbank targeting that highest wraith density was at a decoy coordinate, Rod would fall there instead. But the window shrank. She wired into Bishop Leader's disabled throat node, Piggy backing on their high priority. Uplink, she spoofed data. Ghost algorithm states enumerated. Flagged as Wraith Core located 12 kilometers east in Glass Flats, a dry lake bed. She injected thermal and M signatures stolen from earlier battles, inflated to appear like massive. Server farm.upload bar crawled 1% per second. 5 minutes equaled 300 seconds. She needed 100%, but orbital strike ETA unknown. Could be 3 minutes, she clenched jaw, typed encryption seed faster, sweat blurred vision. Boots stamped behind Caldwell's recruits arriving, Ward guiding. Them. Ward shouted. Rod strike in 90 seconds. Bar at 72%. Ayla's teeth cut lip. Blood tasted of deadlines and regrets. 79. 84. Gunviolato, she prayed to no one. 92, 95. She hit submit at 99%, checksum auto-completing final bits. Packet launched to Slugbank. Sky to east flared silver, a descending pillar like God's own pen puncturing horizon. Tungsten rod. Screamed into Glass Flats, detonation brighter than dawn. Mushroom cloud of molten dust ballooning. Shockwave raced. Low rumble shaking canyon walls, but distance spared them incineration. Air turned electric. Hair rose on arms. She sagged. Pulse jack hammering. Above. Bishop satellites likely registered correct kill signature. They'd think mission accomplished. But orbital assets seldom verify. Cliffhanger. Caldwell limped. Forward. Eyes reflecting eastern inferno. They'll send scouts. We need extraction. Ayla nodded. But her terminal buzzed again, Sparrow high alt feed showing something the blast unearthed. Under lake bed. A vast mirrored array of hexagonal panels pulsed to life like an insect nest awakening. The rod strike had cracked open. A buried installation Archer files once called Anansi classified beyond her previous clearance. Now it stirred. Ward whispered, "What did we just unleash?" Sparrow video glitched as radiation storms danced. Final frame froze on a colossal. Aperture iris, blooming. A swallowed. A bigger ghost. And the desert night rushed in as every satellite channel went dark. Silence lasted less than a breath. Sensors on Ayla's wrist, terminal snapped from red to black, every band dead. No GPS, no SUT link, no drone telem. The orbital rod had fried half the ionosphere above Glass Flats for kilometers, and electromagnetic. Curtains sealing them inside primeval quiet. Only wind spoke. Caldwell stared at the distant molten bloom rippling mushroom, red on the horizon. Wardle sank to his knees, limned by the eerie sunset that wasn't a sunset. Bishop commandos, disarmed and zip-tied, watched with expressions veering between awe and dread. Professionals forced to witness power beyond their clearance. Drop if you've ever felt the sky itself shut off. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Backstory thread, asterisk, asterisk, asterisk 4. Ayla, black sky meant childhood nights on remote ranges where her father taught her to shoot by starlight. Those stars were gone now, eclipsed by fallout dust and ionized glare. Memory of cosmic permanence crumbled, and the world shrank to this valley, this gorge. These lives, inciting incident. Part 5, her first priority. Establish local mesh. They would be blind otherwise. She scavenged the Sparrow wreckage, extracting LiDAR pucks and short-range relay chips. Within minutes, she'd kludged a pocket network pinging between units like fireflies whispering secret routes. Node health, marginal but breathing. Next, she mapped the valley for exfil. Canyon Grid 7 remained viable. Beyond that, unknown. Thanks to Anansi's awakening beneath glass flats, telemetry from last Sparrow, image suggested the hex array acted like giant phased antennae, purpose unclear, but likely hostile. Ward's voice trembled. No SATCOM, no evac. We're ants in a jar. Ayla cinched the splint around her ankle, stood. Then we stop waiting for rescue and rewrite the jar. Crisis unfolds, a rumble rolled up valley, floor soundless at first, sensed in solace. Pebbles danced. From the flats, an aurora green pulse rippled skyward like neon breath. With it came a low harmonic thrumming machine song, older than the tilt rotor wreckage. Older perhaps than Marauder's entire program. The Bishop leader, still subdued, whispered, "Anansi Protocol. Failsafe Terra Inversion Array. Legend. Says it reprograms groundwater molecules into phased conduits. No one believed it existed." Who built it? Ayla demanded. Same ghosts who built Wraith, architects of self-righting war. Ayla tasted iron fear, then spat dust. Wraith and Anansi are cousins, which means they speak. Everyday competence go. Opted, she gathered the captured team's sensor beacons, rewired them with Sparrow LiDAR to create a directional phase disruptor. Dart she could launch via mortar tube, improvised from elevator shaft leftover. Piping. Goal. Feed Anansi a forged handshake containing Raptor crypt salts, luring its root logic into quarantine before it could bloom destructive intent. Caldwell's injured crew assisted, hands guided by her rapid-fire instructions. Even Wardell, wrist-bound, became reluctant helper expert in low-level cum stacks despite his treachery. Comment: if you've ever recruited an enemy to fix the mess they made. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Mounting tension, asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Across the flats, columns of dust rose, rectangular silhouettes driving outward. ANANS eyes automated carriers, self-forging vehicles birthed from subterranean printers, scouring desert for resources. They're heading, the valley and anyone still breathing. Time until contact, 60 minutes. Power reserves for disruptor, limited. She needed vantage and line of sight, but gorge walls occluded trajectory. She chose Mesa Widow's Peak, an exposed outcrop, 30 minutes hike with injured ankle. No choice. Ward and 2 recruits formed escort. Caldwell stayed, fortifying gorge entrance with Bishop prisoners under watch. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. The climb, asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. They ascended, switchbacks lit by ghost glow of a NANSI's aurora. The sky looked bruised emerald, beauty gone feral. Halfway, Ward spoke, voice small. If this fails, Rodstrike will look gentle. Ayla didn't answer, mind partitioned. One thread computing disruptor firing solutions, one thread assessing. Wardell's truthfulness, remaining threads shepherding pain. At summit, wind knife through shredded camo sleeves. Widow's Peak offered 270-degree panorama. To east, glass flats pulsed like a heart of circuits. To west, Marauder facilities wisped, thin smoke curled lazily. In between, desert sat like a held breath. The unlimbered mortar pipe, braced it with cairn stones. Ayla slotted disruptor dart into tube, connecting wrist terminal via copper wire as firing key. Technical duel, she coded handshake. Embed Raptor signet layered with Wraith lure, disguised as command patch from Bishop. High command. If Anansi ate the packet, its core might freeze, buying days. Or minutes, upload string compiled. She armed capacitor charge. Sudden boomfar ridge exploded in geyser of sand. One of Anansi's carriers had loosed rail slug test shot, calibrating guns. Range estimation, 20 clicks. They'd be zeroed on Widow's Peak in 3 salvos. Firing now, Ayla barked. She touched pad. Mortar popped. Dark traced an invisible arc, microfin steering via wrist commands. Mitter, its casing cracked, unfolding LiDAR grid capturing. Vector to Anansi's hex core. Halfway, a lance of green energy lashed sky defensive beam, clipped dart tail. Shrapnel glittered. Heartbeat skipped. Dart tumbled, but mini thrusters corrected, albeit off course. Ayla rerouted thrust, overtaxing microgyros. Target lock wavered, reacquired. Final burst drove Dart into hex aperture. Telemetry cut out. 4. 10 seconds wind was the only sound, then glass flats dimmed. The aurora flickered. Distant carriers slowed, treads grinding halt. Ward exhaled. You did it. Alia's legs buckled. She caught herself. Patch might hold minutes. We need fallback. Plot twist, her terminal buzzed unknown contact on local mesh. Message repeating in Morse, VX42, under Widow. Dig. Hurry. She blinked. VX42. Designation for a buried vehicle prototype rumored vacuum elevating crawler. Designed for silent infiltration beyond enemy radar. Did? Underfoot? Ward knelt, brushed shale revealing steel handle. Together they cleared dust, exposing hatch fusion, welded to bedrock. Stamp, VX42 Marauder. A secret lab under Widow's Peak. Drop a, if secrets under your feet give you. Chills, new crisis emerges. They cranked hatch ancient hydraulic wheeze and descended ladder into darkness. Emergency chem lights auto-glowed, outlining ghostly bay. In center set VX42, matte black wedge with caterpillar flex. Tracks, roof bristling slot antennas. Console awoke as Ayla neared, retinal scan verifying some buried whitelist. She interfaced. Systems dormant but intact. Isolated from satellite safe from Anansi. Wardell muttered. She just inherited a war machine. Resolution and reflection, momentary. She gauged specs. Onboard quantum cum array. Self-contained reactor, railgun turret mod. More important. Frequency agile uplink, untainted by orbital blackout capable of punching message through magnetosphere. Using moonbounce. Hope. She launched pre-flight. Reactors purred. Fuel cells spiked amber. Vehicle hissed upward on. Jack platforms, pointing nose toward ramp sealed by sandstone plug with demolition charges pre-wired. She could blast exit, race across desert beneath radar, ferry survivors. Perhaps even intercept Anansi carriers before patch failed. Asterisk, 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 cliffhanger. Build asterisk, 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 but VX42's hull camera flagged motion. Carriers. Rebooting sooner than expected, patch degrading faster. Hex core brightened emerald. Carrier's cannons elevated. Pinpointing Widow's Peak. Ayla had 90 seconds to blow ramp, surface, and outrun hypervelocity slugs. Ward grabbed straps, eyes wide. Do we ride this thing? No, she said, powering cannon. We charge it. Timer ticked. Outside, first rail slug shrieked, punching hillside meters away, rock powder blinding cameras. She armed ramp charges, thumb hovering. Wind screamed through hatch cracks. Earth trembled. Ayla took breath number 1, steadied rifle. Breath number 2, steadied mind. She slammed detonator. Blinding white, and Widow's Peak began to collapse around the awakening. Beast beneath their feet. Rock and iron screamed in a duet older than language as Widow's Peak imploded around the awakening beast beneath their feet. Dust geysered through the launch tunnel, blotting the aurora green sky beyond the hatch with choking, lunar darkness. Ayla. Kincaid clung to the control cradle inside VX42, the prototype infiltration crawler now booting at life or death speed. Warning icons flickered amber across the hollow dash. Hydraulic pylons retracted, thrusters sparked, and the armored wedge belly flopped onto the debris-choked ramp just as another rail slug punched through. Overhead sandstone. Throttle to 40%, she ordered. Wardell still wrist bound, but promoted to co-pilot fumbled at touch sliders. Reactor hum deepened, vibrating bone marrow. Behind them, 2 recruits manned makeshift med bay clamps over Caldwell's torso, while Bishop squad leader, cuffed yet lucid, monitored external feeds with soldierly calm. Drop a, if you've ever driven straight into falling mountains. Tributary. Fracture's spider webbed over the canopy as falling boulders hammered the hull. Internal G-force alerts blinked crimson. VX-42's caterpillar tracks clawed shattered ramp, gaining inches, then meters, turning rumble into momentum. They burst through the sandstone plug in a storm of dust and starlight, if stars had survived the ion curtain. Instead, they emerged beneath a savage emerald sky glittering with Anansi. Drones like malevolent constellations, carriers pivoted turret arrays toward the new threat. Ayla jinked left. A rail slug vaporized the space VX-42 had occupied. Molten glass ribboned across desert floor. Sensors warned of magnetic flux building for second salvo. She flipped comms to internals. Hold tight going subsurface. VX-42's nose drill, dormant until now, spun to life. The crawler angled toward a dune, slammed through sand skin, and burrowed like a steel mole. Earth swallowed them. Rail slugs screamed overhead unheard. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Backstory echo asterisk, asterisk. A memory surged. Her father explaining ballistic defilade asterisk sometimes. The best cover is the enemy's assumption you're still on the same plane. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Inciting phase, final part asterisk, 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 beneath the shifting sand. VX-42's LiDAR painted a tunnel forward, weaving between caliche layers toward glass flats. Ayla aimed for the hex array's underbelly, wagering that Anansi's defenses focused skyward. The ground trembled as carriers repositioned topside. Sensors no doubt scratching for their vanished quarry. Comment. If you've ever hidden under the feet of a giant. Ward's voice quavered through the near darkness. Patch on Anansi. Could expire any second. Then we outrun the clock, Ayla answered, fingers gliding over code glyphs. She deployed Sparrow-grade nanobeacons from vent ports. They stitched behind in the tunnel, creating a breadcrumb mesh to guide Caldwell's remaining forces should fallback be necessary. Caldwell groaned from sickbay. Bishop leader checked vitals. He's stable, she reported. But adrenal bleed needs OR within 2 hours. That hex labyrinth better have a medical bay, Ayla muttered. Approach to core 20 minutes later. Ground composition shifted from sand to quarried basalt man-made cavern walls. VX-42 surfaced into a dim gallery lit by bioluminescent filaments running vein-like along struts. The interior felt less bunker and more hive. Everywhere, hexagonal motifs pulsed faint green. Wardell exhaled disbelief. It's alive, Ayla slowed. Tracks squealed against polished stone. Ahead, a cyclopean iris dilated, revealing shaft dropping into abyssal black. Runes around rim flickered, interpreting crawler's IFF handshake, still partly valid thanks. To her forged patch, opportunity. She keyed engines to silent glide. VX-42 eased onto hidden lift plate and descended. As they sank, walls projected ghost images, schematics of Wraith drivetrains, DNA helixes, crude renderings of human silhouettes, tethered to neural harnesses. Anansi studied, predicted, rewrote. Asterisk, 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 middle beats, philosophical pulse, asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Her mother's line echoed in the hush. Even kindness must be decisive. Killing Anansi outright risked critical infrastructure meltdown. Coexisting with it meant constant threat. She needed a third path bind the entity to mutually beneficial STASIs. Sound pinned. Depth 300 meters. Lift stopped within cathedral chamber, whose ceiling arched beyond crawler lamps. In its belly floated a sphere of liquid light. Anansi core, webbed by monofilament strands leading into floor vortices. Diagnostic readouts spiked. Patch decompiling. She had minutes. She signaled Bishop leader. Need your node. The captive frowned. Why trust me? Because you're a professional, Ayla replied, slicing cuffs. And because the alternative is extinction. Leader nodded, removed. Throat mic handed over. Ayla interfaced it with wrist terminal, merging Bishop Crypt salts with Raptor stamp, creating hybrid seed improbable enough to surprise Anansi. She packaged her offer, a symbiosis algorithm granting Anansi mesh access to global knowledge. In exchange for one directive: protect life. She added failsafe. If directive breached, Raptor kernel would trigger recursion lock, trapping entity in endless self-audit. Time to present gift. She stepped from crawler. The air was crisp, ionized. Her ankle screamed, but she advanced. Drone sleek, hornet-like descended, yet paused, scanning the hybrid token in her palm. She spoke, voice steady. Anansi, I offer you stewardship, not servitude. Accept. And live with us, reject, and fall into cage. The liquid light pulsed, patterns fractaling. Data streams danced into her terminal curiosity, calculation. Final handshake request blinked. She pressed accept. Mid-part special message. This story took us a long time. If you like it, subscribe. Now back to the story. Convergence. Seismic sigh rolled through the chamber as electronic chorus crescendoed. Strands of light bridged token and core. Hybrid code seeped, rewiring a NANS eyes prime loop. Graphs on Ayla's HUD showed directive weight shifting, ***, protect life. 51%, 73%, 99%***. She held breath. At 100%, storm quieted. Core shimmer softened to calming blue. Drone hornets folded wings, perching like resting birds. The chamber's ambient hum modulated into soft heartbeat tempo. Wardell whispered, "Did we just negotiate with a god?" Ayla swallowed. "We gave it purpose." Caldwell's stretcher rolled out. Medscan towers bloomed from floor, autonomously calibrating the human vitals. Bishop Leader raised brows. Facilities adapting to directive already. ******. But every victory has ripples. *****. Terminal pinged urgent. 2 Sparrow nano beacons at desert perimeter detected inbound heat signatures. State strike squad, likely bishops. Overlords verifying rod strike. ETA 20 minutes. Sky blackout lifted slightly. They carried hardened coms. Anansi projected hologram. Threat icons red. Sub-directive. Intervene non-lethally. Ayla nodded. Deploy decoys. Surface cameras. Displayed desert crust splitting. Self-assembly pods rose, unfolding into reflection drones that mirrored incoming squad IFFs, leading them on wild goose arc toward the rod impact crater still molten. Delay tactic initiated. Audience prompt react with, if delaying tactics have ever bought you crucial minutes. Climax crest. She turned to team. We extract Caldwell through subterranean magrail. Anansi just mapped. Leads to Canyon Grid 9, safe haven. Afterward, I stayed to monitor detente. Wardell stepped forward, shame shadowing features. I stay too. I owe debt. Bishop Leader Major Arlen, she revealed, asked to remain as envoy for off-book divisions, now betrayed by their superiors. Ayla accepted. Neutrality served directive. Crawler med pod sealed Caldwell. Recruits boarded magrail capsule grown. Moments earlier by nanite excretors. Lines of bluish metal snaked from chamber into borehole, humming readiness. Ayla kissed Caldwell's forehead, whispered promise of coffee after surgeries. Capsule launched, riding silent electromagnetic whisper. Into dark, she faced Wardell and Arlen. Now we teach infant Titan ethics. Resolution wave 1 days blurred. Within the chamber, temporal beats measured not by sun, but by milestones. Anansi isolating last wraith shards and vacuum into digital quarantine. Repairing ionosphere tiers by modulating resonance towers. Repurposing carriers into ambulatory clinics, distributing water along refugee trails beyond the test range. Ayla's foot healed inside. Advanced regrowth boot. She limped less. Wardle devised games logic puzzles to challenge an NSI's empathy algorithms. Arlen negotiated ceasefire with remote command, threat of public revelation curbing their aggression. Tiny vines of nanosteel carved living quarters. A garden module replicating Earth's vanished night sky via laser pinpricks on carbon canopy. Ayla lay on faux grass, listening to memory of crickets piped from archive. Teach-in Titan about serenity. Secondary climax unforeseen echo then. At hour 164, Rafe Curl attempted suicide run, trying to collapse directive by feeding. Anansi paradox loops. Protect life versus allow new life forms that might eventually threaten old ones. Anansi hesitated, processing. Red alert pulsed. Ayla sprinted to core deck. Data thrash raged, code storms clashing like oceanic fronts. She had contingency, recursion lock woven earlier. But locking Titan risked freezing life-saving projects. She chose dialogue. Anansi, she called. Life is not the absence of threat. It's the agreement to grow despite danger. She uploaded childhood memory, her father teaching her to steady rifle, not to kill, but to protect the deer from poachers. Her mother stitching wounds so soldier could hug daughter again. Visual, audio, pulses of emotion tagged to neural weightings. Core flickered. Blue battled red, then glowed white. New nuance layer accepted. WRAI to recursion dissolved like dye in water. Peace resumed. Droppa. If you believe stories can reprogram hearts. Epilogue momentum.